Hello, everybody. We're here with Tim Schulz, and today, how are you, Tim?
Not too bad. How are you doing, Pablo?
Very well, very well. Thank you very much for taking the time. And today we wanted to record a quick webinar, if we can call it a webinar, going through the Rushway micro division, which is posted, so we can explain a little bit for any coaches that might have any questions or might want to uh, anything, whatever. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to coachdevelopment@rushsoccer.com. We want you involved. So the first thing that you're going to notice when you go through this curriculum is that we start by the Rushway philosophy, a document that you're probably related to, very familiar with. But of course, the Rushway philosophy has to be applied by age groups as well. Am I right so far, Tim?
Yeah, correct. This is a category I came up with. Oh my gosh, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I started coaching in the club, and this bantam division
Mm-hmm.
is typically our micro soccer, which is I'm sorry, we have the micro division. That's the topic for today, right? The micro division,
Correct. Correct.
and that would be small sided, like 3v3, 4v4, not really introducing the goalie as of yet.
Uh-huh. Correct. Very good. So as you go through the curriculum, you'll notice that, of course, the core values, our 11 core values are mentioned, but in this case, we're going to try to highlight a couple core values specifically for this age group, and you'll find that a little bit more at the bottom. And we're saying like, hey, for this age group, U6 to U8, passion, respect, safety, and enjoyment. Most of all, enjoyment is a key for the age group. Um, Please, Tim, tell me if I'm saying something that is not right, but we're not saying, hey, don't mention the 11 core values. We're just saying like this is a great stage to actually highlight this for. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like quoting the core values or memorizing them. I think it's better just to live them. And, let's go to that first one that you had written down there, and that was passion. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can teach passion. I think we can show it, and I think it evolves on the team, and it's the environment is created by the coach in this particular core value and passion, and that means you know oh, they're so excited when little Susie scores a goal, and you can see the coach high-fiving her and saying, "Oh my gosh, that was such a great goal. We worked on that last weekend." And your parents were so happy, they were clapping on the sidelines. Well, shoot, I'm creating this passion that um, wants the kid to come back for more and see a big smile on their face. I can do that same with a pro. I can do that with a micro division player as well. So those core values are not quoted, not written down, or they're not homework, but they should be actually lived.
100%. 100%. And here comes something that it's interesting to mention from the Rushway philosophy, the way we apply it in the micro division age group in particular. It's the player position. So we believe that under the age 14, every player should have the opportunity to experience all positions on the field. Any comments you would like to make about that one?
Yeah, there is none. There's no positions.
Exactly.
I've coached I've coached every level, and when you're playing 4v4, yeah, maybe you start with a couple back players and a couple forwards, 2-2 formation, and when the ball gets thrown on the field, they just chase it down. Now, yeah, some of these kids literally start saying, "Well, I'm going to play in the back," and they'll stand in front of the goal, and then you'll have another kid that already at 6'7", they want to stay in front of the opposition's goal so they can score. So I think that formations are kind of starting already in their brain. And that's when your job as a coach is to say, all right, you've been in the back for so long in front of our goal. Why don't you try going up front and playing in the front position so that kids are moving around a little bit?
I agree with you. I think that's the most important part, actually, because it's true. Like they're 6 to 8 years old. They're in no positions. They all run, after the ball. It's normal. But when you see somebody that has quite a defined profile in that sense, it tends to always be attacking or always be very close from our goal. Just try to motivate as a coach to have an experience different parts of the field, different functions, because that's good for their development. That's the most important part for me. Yeah.
And convincing little Susie or Johnny, yeah, you've been in the back in front of that goal so long. Just go try going up front for a couple plays during the game, or the next 5 minutes that you're going to play. Why don't you play in the front? We call that position a forward, and then you can score some goals. Just try and convince them come out of their, they're playing in the back.
Completely. Very good. This is another one that it's not only for micro division, but it applies to a couple of age groups, especially with the younger kids. That's the playing time. We're saying that playing time for any individual is completely at the coach's discretion, but Rush encourages that playing time at all levels should be equal through the season. I think this one is worth explaining, especially for coaches that are just starting with a Rush or that don't have very vast experience. What it is that we actually mean, because it might sound contradictory in a way. So you're telling me it's my discretion, but at the same time you're encouraging that all players should play equal time. Do you want to make a comment about this one, Tim?
Yeah, sure. Why not? The concept of everybody playing equal playing time, we keep that up through many of our age groups up until 14, 15 years old. And I think just equal starts during the season, equal time where they have to sit out and not start in a game, just so the player doesn't feel like, oh, I'm not one of the top players. I don't know what's going on in their head at age 6, 7, and 8, but if they start at different times, they just feel real part of the team. That unity concept, that is another one of our core values. And in playing time, oh my gosh, yeah, just as much as they can. Don't get out your stopwatch, coach. Don't get a chart out and be a science out of it. But just everybody plays equal playing time.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be extreme. Exactly.
No.
Very good. I think another one that we can give solid advice about is when it comes to warm up routines for this age group. And to me, I have one very easy concept when it comes to this one. That is, remember that these are kids. These are not professional players. So don't take what you've seen in YouTube too seriously, because they're 60 years old. So there are so many things that are not needed, like stretching or warming up properly. These are kids. They came to play, and playing is good enough for a warm up. But tell us, Tim, to tell me your point of view about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No chance. I'm going to go out and run around, go swimming. I'm 6 years old, or go climb the tree. My mom never yelled out the window, say, "Hey, go stretch out before you go climb the tree." You just don't do it. You go out and run around, and your muscles and your fibers are not ready for that. That can be later on when they hit puberty, or their muscles are being used and active all the time. At this age, my warm up is hopefully with a ball. I still see in America, in my own club, that they're doing the calisthenics and the jogging up and down the field. Not needed. Coaches, not needed. Get out the ball and do something where they're doing some activity with the ball, whether it's a 6-year-old starting at midfield, which is 15 yards away, and dribble into the goal with no defending. That's a good enough warm up in itself. That's difficult for a 5, 6-year-old to dribble in the net with no opposition. Things like that, things that you see in a game, and I'll try and warm up that way for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and they're active, and they're really learning a skill. They're learning to get better and more comfortable on the ball. Who cares about warming them up physically or psychologically? Nobody cares.
No, completely. Besides, it's there's no point in doing that from a scientific point of view. The kid doesn't really need to warm up or stretch or anything like it. They're always ready to play. And this one is important, I think. And it's when we were building this curriculum, we spoke about it a lot. That is the coaching, right? Because it's also easy, the coaching during the game, I mean, because it's also easy to fall under the impression that, okay, because they're kids and we're trying to keep it fun, and then I just put them in a play and I just cheer. I become a cheerleader, and I don't do any coaching. And that's not what we mean at all. It's So how to coach is the key. Um, and that's why we wrote this passage. Game are a great coaching opportunity, but caution, don't overdo it. Always respect the 4-1 coaching approach and make the most of your comments when off the ball and preferably in natural stoppages. Do you want to amplify a little bit about that one, Tim?
Sure, I would love to. Yeah, I am a cheerleader, but I'm also cheerleading in a proper way. So, you know, examples again go back to Sally. She just got real aggressive and won the ball back. Well, there's an opportunity. Sally, you know, wow, that was so aggressive. I'm so proud of you. You know, you're encouraging the player at the same time you're enforcing something that's going to happen later on in their life. They're aggressive and they won the ball. It's building up self-esteem, and you're reinforcing what they did. You can do that throughout the entire game. You can cheerlead at the same time you're being positive in things that you see. Now, I don't know anything about hockey, so I'm talking to a lot of coaches that, well, I've never coached the game. What do I see? Well, I don't know anything about hockey, but if I see a player being aggressive, skating up and down the ice rink, I'm going to say, my gosh, you hustled so much today, and your effort was amazing. Bring that next week. I love what you did today. Well, now the kid's thinking, hey, the guy loves me. He loves my work rate. I I don't really have to know a lot about soccer as a coach at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, but you do know a lot about parenting. You do know a lot about encouraging. You do know a lot about discipline, safe environment. So those things you can bring out in that 4-to-1 ratio. How to how to motivate the kid while they're still getting some feedback on what's right and what's wrong in the game.
No, completely. Um, Very good. Another one. And I'm trying to, as we go over this curriculum, I try to think. We're so familiar with these ideas. It's sometimes I'm just trying to remember. Like, let's think about the new coach to the rush. Um, the greeting, even in these crazy times, I think it's something that we definitely want to encourage in this age group from a young age, and what we expect from them. Do you want to make a couple comments about that one?
Yeah, sure. I've had this one since day one when I've been in the club, and that is just shaking the hands of an authority, and in this case, it would be a coach. For some of the 5 and 6 years old, they might not have seen another authority in their life, except a teacher, a kindergarten teacher. You might be the second authority that they see outside of the family. So how do you behave? Well, you go up to the coach and say hi, coach, and shake their hands. Is it too young? Absolutely not. The kids should start learning self-esteem, and my gosh, it's their boss, it's their teacher. So a quick handshake is something that we do. It's a Rush Way core value. And as they get older, they can go up and maybe shake a director of coaching's hand or their assistant coach and greet a couple, three, four people. I think it's so healthy for these kids, and it's a good life skill as they get older, interviewing for a job or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, it's such a simple thing, but you'll see millions of parents that are really grateful for that, because the kid starts
Yeah,
feeling more comfortable, shaking a grown-up's hand and saying hello, being respectful. It pays off. It pays off. Definitely, you can start encouraging that one from a very young age.
that's right.
Um,
Why not? Why not? 5-year-old
why
can
not?
shake. Why not?
Exactly. This is one that even if it goes across all of the age groups, I think it's worth commenting that it's what the overall training principles are for us when we design these curriculums, and they're very simple, but they're worth explaining. That is, we're basing the entire progression on 4 principles that are to be game-based, competitive, soccer-specific, and simple. And to explain a little bit more is game-based. We're saying because everything that you can do is if you put it on a game, it's more engaging and it's normally a little bit more fun. So if you can make a drill to cross balls to the box, if you actually put it in a game, you'll notice that your kids are going to be more engaged. It tends to be a lot more fun. Um, the fact of being competitive, it's for the same reason. Kids are competitive, so we're saying, hey, even if they're running from one sideline to the other with the ball, like if you actually make it a challenge, between two players, they're going to enjoy it more. They actually want that component. Tim, please feel free to interrupt me anytime. Huh?
Yeah. Let me jump in there.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed and discouraged when a coach says, "Well, winning doesn't matter." A kid doesn't want to hear that, or winning is not important, or no, it is. When they play those stupid game videos, or they do some on TV, they're competing against something, and they want to get a better score, and they want to beat the opponent, whether that opponent is 1,000 miles away and they're playing virtual, or it's a game on TV, or racing their dad to the mailbox. They feel challenged and they feel an excitement. If I said run to the mailbox and back, the kid would be like, "Why?" Well, if I said I'm going to race you to the mailbox, now my kid's engaged. So competition is healthy. It's good. It's good at age 3 and it's good at age 30. How we treat competition, that's a different matter. Do I swear at the kid? Do I bench him next week because he didn't score the game-winning goal? Well, that's extremes. That's ridiculous. But competition is fun, and a healthy coach is a competitive coach.
Exactly. It's that's why it's like if you add a competitive element to any activities at any age, the players are always more engaged. It's because it's normal. They like competing everywhere.
That's right.
You play football. You like competing.
It's fun.
Then we say it's soccer specific, which is basically what we believe that the game is a teacher. So I always give the same example. People say the players start playing, throwing the ball one to each other, and they say, "Well, I'm working on the basic motor skills of throwing and catching." And I'm like, "Well, why didn't you think about playing, goal to goal, just two goalkeepers, and it's the same, but they're playing soccer, right?"
Yeah.
So that's my idea about being soccer specific. Everything has to be a reflection of what the sport is about, and sometimes it gets very intoxicated by fashions, and we think that we need to reinvent something that it was there already.
Yeah. No, I had a debate this morning with the staff here, Pablo, and it was 6v6. Or let's stick with micro soccer. Let's say there's 8 kids on the team. What's wrong with playing 4v4 during practice and nothing else? Just play 4v4. The kids show up, you throw out a ball, and you're playing 4v4. And the answer is absolutely nothing's wrong with it at all. You're playing the game, and that's what they signed up for, and it's perfect. Now, how would you break it down? Well, let's do 4v0 for 3 minutes, and everybody's got to touch the ball and do one pass. Okay, well, that's game related. It's close, and it's a warm up. So you can get creative. Look at 4v4 because that's micro soccer, and start doing creative things that is a little bit close to soccer, but there's some tweaks into it because you're a soccer coach and you want to get it accomplished. Let's say the kids aren't dribbling enough, and now you're going to play 4v4, and you say, okay, you got to take somebody on and try and dribble first before you can go score a goal. Okay, so you're implementing some coaching aspects. Yeah, it's got to be game related. It makes no sense for me to, start swimming when they're at soccer practice. It's got to be close to the game.
No, 100%. In fact, a close coach that he was telling me the other day, I've never seen a guy that's how do you call it? Like when it's like mountain running, like trail running. I've never seen a trail runner play soccer to prepare for the trail running competition. So I don't know why we try to make him do things that are not related to soccer. Like we want him to go swim and to go to the gym instead of playing soccer, and then they got to play soccer. I've never seen it the opposite way, and it's true. And well, the last one, I think, simple. It's one that we've spoken about a lot. I think it's good advice for the coaches as well. Complexity when it's unnecessary, it's not a quality. It's not a quality. It's a flaw. I think it happens in everything, not even in coaching, in many disciplines. Making the complex simple is a lot more of a virtue, in my opinion, than the opposite. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've seen coaches and I've played for coaches that it got so complicated. The game was distorted, and I'm not sure how this related to the game, and therefore I lose interest, and that's not good. You don't want to lose interest of your player, and if you do it often, that player is going to go sign up for football or baseball because they're not enjoying it. It's too complicated.
I think so too. And I think it's again, it goes beyond soccer. As a teacher, you know, the teachers that know the best in general are the ones that are capable of explaining complex things in simple words rather than expressing things in very complex ways that are hard to follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the greatest teachers are just simple. They have an incredible knowledge of the complexity and the details and the nuances of the game, but yet they just always, the more they know, the more they go, well, simplicity is the best answer.
Completely, completely. Going into specifics of the group, we said the objective is to develop healthy players with a strong passion for soccer. How do you feel about this one?
Oh my God, it is the fundamental. It is the foundation. If there's any message that we could get across in this webcast is develop a passion for those kids, not the kids. I'm sorry, for the game. You create a passion, an environment that is second to none, and then kids will want to play more. They'll want to show up more. They'll want to train more. They'll train on their own because they see this fun excitement that comes from you. And I don't think you can say be passionate. I don't think you can say be in love, but I think you can fall in love. I think you can show it, and because there's an emotional characteristic there that the kids feel. They can't go home in the car and mom says, "How was practice?" and really articulate it, but deep down inside they can feel it. They just start thinking about, I was loved, I was wanted, and I had fun today. Then they're going to come back.
Completely, completely. It's like a teacher that I had once told me, you have to think that when you start uh, talking about soccer, like at this stage, like okay, we're working on a skill or something. You already started with the wrong word. You're not working on anything. We're
That's
we're
right.
playing. We're playing, and you have to understand that for the kid work, if there's any work, is going to school. That's work where he has to go, he has to learn. Coming to soccer after, it's not work. It's where he actually came to enjoy himself and to be a kid. And so you don't have to don't kill that. Don't kill that.
That's right.
Because that's the reason why he's gonna come back or not. So
Yeah, very good. I agree. I'm doesn't matter if it's micro, even pro. The leader, the boss, the owner of the company, you got to enjoy your job. It's got to be fun.
completely. One that I think it's we can give a little bit of direction on is we were saying that the preferred training methodologies, we said let's focus on those that integrate long free play periods like play practice play or just dynamic from analytical to global. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. I've done exercise. I've done a whole training session where I've done no play. Just we did ball skills the whole day, and I made it fun and enjoyable. I've done training sessions where all we did was play. I've done the play, practice, play. So I've done a little bit of everything. Coach, feel out what is necessary, vary it up. I think if you do the same thing every week, week in and week out, I think the kids will lose interest and they just get bored. So try a little bit of everything. That play, practice, play method is, you split up and play, and then you saw a couple things you didn't like. Let's say it was, too slow. The passing was too slow. So now you do a drill where we have to pass faster, whether it's two touch in a 4v4 keep away game. And then you say, okay, you guys understand why I want quick play. Now you play again. So that's the play, practice, play method. Nothing wrong with it. There's many ways to skin a cat. I think you want to watch for boredom. I think you want to watch for is it close to the game? Kind of things we're talking about. Does it simulate a soccer game? So many methods are totally acceptable.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, like we phrased it, it's a maybe it's a preferred approach to say, hey, try with play practice. At the end, the sentence that really matters is that we were saying like, hey, use long, use something that has a long free play period then, because it's to highlight the playing component rather than the method itself. We like you were saying, there are so many ways of skinning a cat, and what really matters is how you coach it on the flow. If the kid is really having fun, is enjoying himself, he's most likely to learn.
Yeah.
And maybe you were not following any particular method, so that's completely
Yeah.
acceptable in my eyes.
Yeah, I know. The Pablo, the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old coach typically is a mom or dad. We didn't find a pro that would jump down and coach the 6-year-old, so we got to empathize with what they're going through. Um, Sometimes the beginner is our best coach because all they know is play. And what's a better teacher? The game. The game is the best teacher. It's a phrase that you'll hear throughout the world: is the game is the best teacher. Now the mom or dad doesn't have to be intimidated. Throw a ball out there, play 4v4, and then if you don't like something, step in and try and correct it. Absolutely, absolutely 100% acceptable.
Exactly. And when it comes to the physical component, my only advice, to be honest, would be, um, especially for the coach that's just starting his career or that it's a volunteer, like you're saying, just remember the kids are not adults, so their bodies are different. Pre-puberty is a completely different story. So the kids don't need, like we were saying before, like they don't really need to warm up or do laps or do strength. Don't worry too much about that. The game itself will present enough physical components for their development. In that sense, the only thing that is just is avoid things that are like high intensity efforts for in long distances, things that their bodies as kids don't really assimilate properly. That would be my main advice for any coach.
Yeah, I don't have many comments on that. I don't think you have to worry about the physical attributes or focus on
Excellent.
anything physically at that age. I think they're gonna fall down and get up. They can barely lock their ankle. Their muscle coordination is very, very new. So I wouldn't focus on it. It's not a priority at this age.
Exactly. Like don't worry about that. Don't literally don't worry as a coach if you're new, you don't know so much at this age. Just playing itself is going to represent enough
That's right.
physical. Yeah, don't try to. I would just say that try to avoid like aerobic activities like running laps and things like that are completely
Zero.
pointless. They don't
Zero.
enjoy them. They're not go. Yeah, zero of that, and you'll be fine.
That's my
Um,
opinion. Zero. Don't waste your time.
completely. From a technical point of view, what do you think are the keys for the age group?
Well, shoot, this is such a fun age. They're so uncoordinated. You're talking about very, very basics. There's a thing called juggling, and the great players can juggle 30, 40, 50 times, 1,000 times. These kids gotta kick the ball and catch it. These guys gotta head it one time and catch it. Not that they're going to see a head ball in a game, but they're building up just this coordination of eye-foot coordination. Um, Skills on dribbling is a priority. Dribbling the ball into the goal is a priority. Passing, yeah, okay. Heading, zero. Even though I said you could throw it up and head it, you would probably do it with a balloon, maybe. I wouldn't even introduce maybe heading until 8 years old, 9 years old.
Hmm.
So the skill is you and the ball, and any way you can manipulate it, turn it, twist the ball around, pass it, dribble it into the goal, shoot it in the goal. There's 1,000 variations of of drills for dribbling. I'm sorry, for ball skills. I think the priority would be dribbling. At this age, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I think dribbling is a key, so they're very comfortable with it.
I think so too, and I think it goes back to, or it supports what we were saying before. one of those things is that the game is the teacher, and it really is. Like, you can try as a coach to do some analytical activities with no opposition for 10, 15 minutes if you want, but then make sure that you move on to a more game related situation, because all that dribbling, all those ball skills, if you don't apply them against a rival, that it's not the same. So it's again the simple game of football is supporting what you're trying to accomplish. That is, if you want them to dribble better, well, they have to learn to do it during the game. They have to learn to do it in real situations and against rivals. So again, the game is your best tool sometimes.
Yeah, there's a combination of exactly what you're saying. If your team cannot dribble one against one and in the goal, well, then try a few minutes without the opposition. Just dribbling around two cones and dribbling in the goal. You as a coach got to kind of find that fine line of what's too difficult and what's too easy, and you're going to meet them right in the middle. And that's a special teacher, finding what they can't do, bring it down a little bit so it's just achievable. Now that passion is instilled again, they feel a sense of accomplishment. They've achieved something, and now you make it a little bit more complicated.
I agree. And you're highlighting something super important, right? It's a good or a good tip for the newer coaches, that it's instead of basing yourself and focusing so much on what your session plan says, observe, right? Like, try to focus on observing and making sure that, and trying to perceive if this is too complicated, is this too easy, is it time to move on, can we stay a couple more minutes on this activity, because that's going to give you better guidance than the sheet of paper that you're holding in general. So
yep, fair enough.
When it comes to a tactical point of view, what do you recommend?
Well, tactics is decision making now. We define technique as you and the ball, and now tactic is decision making. Very, very, very simple, simplistic tactics. If we do have to implement, it would be maybe 2 against 1, dribbling to goal. Which direction you go, and switching at halftime for the 5-year-olds. Go chase the ball down is defending at this age. Just go get it. Go win the ball back. That's actually a tactic. It's the starting defending. Now I could say that to a pro. Go get it. Go win the ball back, fellas. We got to get it. So there's some correlation there. And then on attack, my gosh, you just told me to go get it. Now I'm supposed to spread out on attack. Why would I do that? And this transition that we say in soccer, defense to offense, offense to defense, is in any team sport. That's transition. Well, these transitions happen multiple times in 2 seconds. You lose the ball, you win the ball, you lose the ball, you win the ball. So you can't really say spread out too often. And that's what we have written down here. So really, coaches, don't frustrate yourself on tactics. Here's the 2 primary principles. Go win it. Go get it back. Now go score. Go score. That's plenty. That is plenty.
Completely. Like, tactics, it's minimal at this stage. So,
maybe get the ball in play quickly. Because I coached this age group 5, 6, 7 years ago. The ball goes out of bounds. That's a tactic. Set it down and play. Let's get the ball back in play. Let's go again. Go fast. That's a tactic. Come on, get up there. Go fast. Dribble fast. Go. So those are very rudimentary tactics, but you can introduce them.
Exactly. The proportion of tactics at this age group is minimal. So as a coach, again, don't worry too much about it. Recommended activities. I think there's a couple good tips here that we can give. My personal, and you tell me if you disagree with me, is try to keep it in small numbers. Everything that they teach you in every single coaching course that you're going to go. They're going to insist on we want to maximize the number of repetitions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I always say like, well, play in small numbers, and you're going to have more repetitions than ever. So
Yeah.
it's great for the development. That's my one. What about you?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. You're just going to be engaged more. Coaches, we got to be a little bit cognizant that if we're playing 1v1 and I have 8 players on my team, there's 6 of them waiting. So that 1v1 has to go fast. They got to be done with that activity within 5 to 10 seconds. And then you're rolling another ball out there so the next group can go. And that ratio is not bad. 5 to 10 seconds work. That means 3 groups are sitting down for about 15 to 25 seconds. That's okay. That's a good ratio. But if you're playing 1v1 for 3 minutes, the other one's sitting out for 5, that ain't gonna cut it. You're gonna lose their mental focus. So
Yeah,
yeah, small groups but quick.
yeah, exactly. And sometimes something that I don't see uh, coaches that are just starting do is hey, you can replicate the game, like you can duplicate it literally. Just draw two, make 2 fields instead of one, and
Good point.
have 2 going on at the same time so that it flows faster.
Good
If you want
point.
to play 1v1s and you have 8 kids, you don't need to line up 4 and 4. You can line up 2 and 2 and just do it twice at
There
the same
you
time.
go. Yep, both
Yeah,
of them can play at the same time. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. Very
exactly.
creative.
Exactly. Very good. So, this one, you know what? I would like to take a second here to talk about meeting parents. I think it's such a struggle for so many coaches. The relationship with the parents, and I think that you hear too many different things. There are a lot of clubs and coaches that they want to treat the parent like we got to keep him as far as we can, and I think that's a mistake personally, because it's a lack of empathy, and empathy is one of our core values. And you have to understand that there's nothing more normal in the world than a parent loving his kid and trying to be a little bit involved. Now, how you administrate that is the key. That's my opinion. What about you, Tim?
No, I like that as well. I love it when the parents are cheering and screaming and yelling, and as long as it's respectful, don't say anything against the opponent or the referee. But um, I love going to a Liverpool Barca game because the crowd is so into it. It makes it so fun. And now with this virus, I turn on a game on TV and there's nobody in the stands. It's like, oh, it just loses that environment. Well, I think the same with the 5, 6, 7 year olds. If the parents are yelling, cheering, good play, good pass, oh, that was fun, laughing. I just think there's just such a better environment. Again, as long as it's respectful. And then me meeting the parents, why not? It's go up, say hi to them, and let them know what you're planning on doing, and giving some feedback. Here's an interesting one, Pablo. I'm a dad, and a good 15 years ago, I took my kid to swimming lessons, and after four lessons, I got the certificate, and I'm a proud dad. And I'm going, well, I don't know if my kid can swim or if they're going to drown in the swimming pool because I got no feedback. So the
I know.
instructors give a little bit of feedback. Now I know it's not life and death with the swimming, but a little bit of feedback. Hey, Johnny's doing really well. I love his attitude. 30 seconds with mom and dad, and then you got a lifelong supporter. And I think there's a better environment at home too now, because maybe they sit around and talk about football at the dinner table, and that is a formula for a potentially kid that loves game later on.
No, 100%. And it's like Crispy was saying the other day in a conversation. You had to understand that it's the kid. The team is it's a triangle, right? It's the kid, it's the coach, and it's the parents. So get him involved, and try to guide them, because they love their kid. They're trying to do something good for
Yeah,
him or for her. Maybe they just don't know how yet. And that doesn't mean that they're going to be close to listening to you, or an opinion of why. Just explain why you do things, and how you can help the kids and how they can help their kids. And I think you find a lot less resistance than a lot of coaches actually fear. Um,
yeah.
Talk to
I
them.
wonder if there's one clip you could cut out and take, and that's this comment that I'm going to make right now, and that is, there's nothing more detrimental to a child than a parent that is so involved in their soccer world, this fun world, and they're telling them where to go, when to run, where to pass, and they should have tried harder. I'm telling you, you're trying so hard to make your kid better, they're actually going to go worse. They're going to quit the game. They're going to go away from you, and it's not healthy. Listen, when my dad would take me to the game, and after the game we would go out for a chocolate milkshake, and I knew he was there. I had this feeling that he supported me, and we would talk a little bit about soccer, but more about just that we were together and we had a good time. That's a healthy relationship. Parents, you want to screw up your kid, get totally involved, tell them where to go, how to run. They should have tried harder. And I see it at the oldest age level, and it hurts me so bad when I got a top player and the parent just screwed him up.
No, 100%. In fact, that's a good reflection. As a parent, or maybe this is my experience. When I was on the field, maybe not at this stage, a little bit older, but when I was at the field, there was just a space for me and my friends. So I wanted my parents supporting me, like you're saying, but I don't know how involved I wanted them, because it was also a little bit of my freedom.
True.
I was controlled all the time. Everybody was disciplined. At home, I had
Exactly.
exactly, that was my open space. It was like I could do whatever I
That's right.
wanted. Yeah.
That's
So
right. Now check out this, Pablo. There was times when my dad would go, "Oh my gosh, that was so fun!" That let's say Ross scored a great goal today. That was fun watching him. Now that's okay because
yeah,
he became a fan. And now don't push it now, Dad or Mom. Just kind of get in their space, but show that you enjoyed being there, and you thought that something that was kind of special. And it's not always about your kid; it's about somebody else that did some fun. Oh my gosh, that was a fun game today. I love that second goal that Bobby scored. That was so fun to watch him slide in there and get it with his toe. That's cool. That's enough.
exactly, exactly. Very good. Okay, moving on to the last couple of topics. In terms of expectations, we define juggling and tricks. More than going into the detail of, okay, these are the juggling and tricks that they should be able to do, or the footwork that they should be able to do. I think that the value or the explanation here is um, to say what we mean by this. It's like, so coach, this is your first year. You look at your kid and you're like, oh wow, I don't know if my kids are capable of doing every single trick here. That's not what we mean. How would you explain this part to them?
Well, again, it's challenging. It's going back to being a good teacher. Is your classroom too boring or is it too advanced? You got to get right in the middle. If this boy that's sitting in front of us dribbling, he picks the ball up and can do two juggles, well, two in a row and then catch it. Okay, now we move on to, all right, that was good. Let's fictitious name here, Eric. You did it two with the feet. Now can you do two with the right and then two with the left at the same time? And then Susie, who's sitting behind her in that picture, she can barely do it one time. Now you say, well, Susie, don't worry about Eric. You see if you can beat one juggle. Because last week you did one juggle and a catch. Now you got to get two today. So that teacher's got to be able to go, all right, where are my students at? And how can I bring them along a little bit? Not a boring classroom, but not an advanced classroom. Here's a whole bunch of drills that we showed on the left-hand side, and they're just different methods on different ages that can be challenged. And it's eye-foot coordination. Yeah, and they can work on stuff like that at home.
Completely. Exactly. That's what I was trying to express. I think it's more of a benchmark and a guide. When you read player expectations, to say, first of all, to say if you have a player that is capable of doing all of these expectations, well, you're probably seeing a pretty good player for the age. That's the first one. And the second is, like you were saying, like, how do I progress? If I have my kid that is capable of juggling twice with one foot, okay, where do I go for? Like what's the next step? And these expectations, I think, they help you, they guide you through the process.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think they're guidelines, and throw a couple things out there. You'll learn real quick where your kids are at, and you're gonna challenge them and bring them along with these activities that we're showing here.
Very good. Maybe the last one that is worth, because after that we go to the annexes that are fun games. So just for the coach use and just read them. These games are so easy and so effective. They're super engaging for the players because they have fun. So it's a really good resource. The general game knowledge and rush philosophies. So these are expectations as well, and these are fun in this age group. So it's just like you were saying before. For instance, an expectation for is which direction the team is going.
See, the boy in the picture there, he's not quite sure.
The one behind him, for sure, he's not sure where he's going. So no, very good, very good. Ed. Like you were saying, like this is worth reading. Quiet at halftime while the coach is talking.
Yep.
With the fact of being respectful and starting to promote that from a very young age. Basic understanding of the rules of the game. What would you say here? How to do a throw in? What's a foul? You can touch it with your hand.
Johnny, go in there and be aggressive. You're allowed to shoulder him off the ball, and some coaches don't even know that. But then when you go and trip his feet, well, you can't do that. So, well, coach, you're telling me be aggressive, but I can't trip him? No, not. Here's some basic rule understanding. Can't touch the ball with your hand. You can't push somebody. You can shoulder them. You can take your shoulder and ram them on the ground, but you can't push them.
Very good. Exactly. Good. So, Tim, do you have any final words to wrap up this curriculum? I hope coaches, I would like to get feedback from you. We're trying to explain this so that everybody understands it, especially if you're new to the rush or new to coaching. Any final advice you would like to give these coaches, Tim?
Yeah, I've coached every age group. I've coached national teams, pro. I've coached youth. This is the hardest age group, coaches. 6, 7, 8-year-olds are the most difficult. Their attention span is short. If I could ask that anything is brought out is you're teaching a love and a passion for the game. They want to come back. They can't articulate why, but they just love coming to your training session because you, mom or dad, you made your training sessions fun. They really, really love just being around their buddies, and you're a good teacher and you created that environment.
100%. Tim, thanks very much for taking the time. I hope everybody enjoys this debate and explanation of the micro division curriculum. And again, we would like to hear your feedback. So if you have any, please send it to coachdevelopment@rushsoccer.com, and we'll connect with you. Thanks very much, Tim.
My pleasure. Go Rush.